On a crisp morning in Washington, D.C., as the sun rises over Pennsylvania Avenue, a single building stands as both a home and a symbol, an address that can calm markets, launch wars, inspire hope, and shape the destiny of millions. The White House is more than a residence. It is the beating heart of American power, a stage where history unfolds in real time. If you like the videos of the World Archive, please be sure to like, comment, and share. Long before it became the most recognizable political residence in the world, the idea of a presidential home emerged from uncertainty, compromise, and ambition. When the United States won independence in 1783, it faced a pressing question. Where would its government reside, and what would symbolize the authority of a new republic determined to avoid the trappings of monarchy? The founders wanted a capital that was permanent yet neutral, a city that belonged to no single state. After intense debate, the Residence Act of 1790 established a new federal city along the Potomac River, what would become Washington, D.C. At the center of this planned capital would stand a presidential residence, not a palace, but a dignified home reflecting Republican ideals. The man who oversaw the vision was George Washington. Though he would never live in the White House, Washington played a decisive role in its creation. He selected the site and approved the competition that would determine its appearance. The winning architect, James Hoban, proposed a neoclassical structure inspired by European country houses, particularly Leinster House in Dublin. His design balanced elegance with restraint. Columns and symmetry conveyed authority without royal excess. Construction began in 1792 under difficult conditions. Washington, D.C. was little more than marshland and muddy roads. Laborers included immigrants, skilled craftsmen, and enslaved African Americans whose contributions remained largely unrecognized for generations. Sandstone from nearby quarries formed the walls, later painted white to protect against weather damage, an act that would inadvertently give the building its enduring nickname. In 1800, the federal government moved to the new capital, and John Adams became the first president to reside in the unfinished mansion. He wrote to his wife, Abigail, expressing hope that none but honest and wise men ever rule under this roof. The sentiment captured the fragile optimism of a young nation, testing the durability of its democratic experiment. The building's early years were anything but tranquil. During the War of 1812, British forces invaded Washington in 1814. They set fire to the presidential residence, leaving only charred walls standing. The image of the burned structure became a national trauma, a symbol of vulnerability. Yet from destruction came resilience. James Madison authorized reconstruction, and James Hoban returned to restore the building. By 1817, under James Monroe, the rebuilt residence reopened, brighter and more refined. The white paint that covered smoke stains solidified the name, White House, though it would not become official later. Throughout the 19th century, the White House evolved alongside the nation it served. It was both a workplace and a family home, hosting state dinners while children played in its corridors. Andrew Jackson opened its doors to the public, reinforcing the idea that the president was accessible to the people. Yet accessibility brought chaos. Crowds sometimes overwhelmed the mansion, forcing new security measures. The White House witnessed moments that defined the American story. Under Abraham Lincoln, its rooms carried the weight of civil war. Lincoln drafted the Emancipation Proclamation within its walls, transforming the conflict into a moral struggle against slavery. The building became a wartime command center, with telegraph lines bringing battlefield updates directly to the president. When Lincoln was assassinated in 1865, the White House became a place of mourning, draped in black crepe as the nation grieved.
As the United States expanded its global influence in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the White House grew in both physical size and symbolic power. Theodore Roosevelt undertook major renovations in 1902, adding the West Wing to separate executive offices from the family residence. This change transformed the building from a mere home into a modern command center. Later, William Howard Taft added the Oval Office, a room that would become one of the most recognizable spaces in the world, a place where decisions affecting global peace and conflict are made. The Great Depression tested the limits of presidential authority. Franklin Roosevelt used the White House as a hub for economic recovery efforts, delivering fireside chats via radio to reassure a frightened public. His leadership expanded the executive branch's role in everyday life, cementing the White House as the nerve center of federal power. World War II elevated the White House to a global command post. Roosevelt and later Harry S. Truman coordinated military strategy with Allied leaders from its secure rooms. After the war, Truman oversaw a complete structural renovation when engineers declared the building unsafe. The interior was gutted and rebuilt with steel framing, ensuring the White House could endure for generations. During the Cold War, the White House became a symbol of ideological rivalry. Under John F. Kennedy, it projected youthful optimism even as nuclear tensions loomed. The Cuban Missile Crisis unfolded through tense deliberations in the Oval Office, where the world came perilously close to nuclear war. Decisions made within those walls demonstrated the immense power concentrated in the presidency. The latter half of the 20th century brought both triumph and scandal. Richard Nixon resigned following the Watergate scandal, proving that the rule of law could penetrate even the highest office. The White House, once seen as untouchable, became a symbol of accountability as well as authority. In the decades that followed, presidents used the White House to navigate globalization, technological change, and shifting geopolitical realities. Ronald Reagan addressed the nation from its halls as the Cold War waned. Barack Obama leveraged digital media to communicate directly with citizens, bringing the presidency into the age of social networks. Each administration left subtle marks, policy decisions, cultural shifts, and historical moments layered upon the building's legacy. But how powerful is the White House truly? Its strength lies not in walls of sandstone or fortified gates, but in the authority vested in the presidency. The occupant of the White House serves as head of state, head of government, and commander-in-chief of the world's most powerful military. Decisions made within its offices influence global markets, international alliances, climate policy, and technological development. Yet its power is not absolute. The American system of checks and balances ensures that Congress and the judiciary can challenge presidential actions. The White House must negotiate with lawmakers, respond to court rulings, and answer to the electorate. This tension between authority and accountability defines its unique strength, a power constrained by democratic principles.
Security at the White House reflects its importance. Layers of protection include the Secret Service, advanced surveillance systems, restricted airspace, and fortified structures designed to withstand modern threats. Despite these measures, the building remains a symbol of openness. Tourists line up daily for a glimpse, and peaceful protests often take place just beyond its gates, embodying the freedoms it represents. Culturally, the White House functions as a national stage. State dinners showcase diplomacy through cuisine and ceremony. Holiday decorations reflect shared traditions. The Easter egg roll on the South Lawn brings families together, reinforcing the idea that the president's home belongs to the people. Through these rituals, the building transcends politics to become a shared cultural touchstone. Internationally, the White House symbolizes American leadership. Foreign dignitaries visit to negotiate treaties, address crises, and strengthen alliances. Images of handshakes on its portico can signal shifts in global power. From peace accords to trade agreements, the outcomes of meetings held there reverberate worldwide. In times of crisis, the White House becomes a focal point of national unity. After the attacks of September 11, 2001, it served as a command center for emergency response and military action. Presidents addressed the nation from its rooms, offering reassurance and resolve. Such moments reveal the building's role not just as a workplace, but as a psychological anchor for a nation seeking stability. The White House also reflects the evolving story of American identity. Once built with the labor of enslaved people, it later became home to the nation's first African-American president, Barack Obama, a transformation that mirrors broader social change. Each administration adds a new chapter, reshaping the narrative of who belongs within its walls. Architecturally, the building has expanded to meet modern demands. The West Wing houses the Oval Office, Situation Room, and staff offices. The East Wing accommodates the First Lady's initiatives and visitor services. Beneath the surface lies a network of secure facilities designed for crisis management. Despite these additions, the original residence remains intact, preserving its historical character. Media coverage has amplified the White House's global reach. Press briefings broadcast from the James S. Brady Press Briefing Room shape daily news cycles. Statements issued from the White House can move stock markets within seconds. In the digital age, a single tweet from the president can influence international diplomacy. The White House's power is also symbolic. It represents the endurance of democratic governance through war, depression, scandal, and social upheaval. While empires have risen and fallen, this residence has remained a constant, its authority renewed every 4 years through peaceful transitions of power. This ritual, unique in its consistency, underscores the resilience of American institutions. As night falls over Washington, the White House glows under floodlights, its columns casting long shadows across the lawn. Inside, staff members work late into the evening, drafting policies, preparing briefings, and coordinating responses to events unfolding across the globe. The building never truly sleeps because the responsibilities it carries are continuous. From its origins as a modest Republican residence to its role as the epicenter of global influence, the White House embodies the paradox of American power: immense yet restrained, symbolic yet functional, historic yet constantly evolving. It stands not merely as a building, but as a living institution shaped by the people who pass through its doors and the ideals they carry with them. And so the story continues, each administration adding new layers to its legacy, each decision echoing far beyond its walls. The White House remains what it has always been, a house of the people, a seat of power, and a mirror reflecting the hopes, struggles, and ambitions of a nation still defining its place in the world.